got 15 minutes to go for this live. I don't know what happened. I did a poll and my sound went out. I tell you, try to use these different things on here and your sound goes out. I tell you. So what I'm going to do is do something a little different. I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to take you guys through how to become a radiologic technologist and share with you all some details if you did not know. So let's look at this screen here. Okay. So you guys can see this. This is basically the ARRT, American Registry of Radiologic Technologists. It is what I was explaining to the other person, how this is how we, there we go. This is how we get our actual, so this is how we actually get our accreditation. This is how you become a radiologic technologist. These are the credentials that you need to get. And these are the things that you want to do if you're looking to go as a high school student, if you're looking to, just different things that you need to do in order to get into it. So I'm going to show you the website. This is the website here. It is called ARRT.org. And it's important that you know this website because this is how you are going to direct yourself to be able to get accreditation information, credential, and get the right information. A lot of people come on my social media and they want to know, like, how do I become a radiologic technologist? What are some of the things that I have to do? Like, what are the prereqs? How do I find the right schools? Because all the schools that I'm seeing say this and say that. But this is, this is the go-to place to build your career if you are looking to become a radiologic technologist. And if you're a technologist too, this is the website to go to learn more about how to volunteer, how you can become an educator. If you are an educator, resources for you. If you want to advocate. These are all the things I'm going to show you, like what it is that we do and how we find out about radiology. So if we need to renew our licenses, our credentials, continue education, our dashboard where we log in and do all of that. We can message, we have handbooks, we have forms, we have how to earn credentials. So what are some of the credentials and how do we earn them? We talk about primary eligibility pathway. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let's blow that up some. So primary pathway, post-primary pathway, and registered radiologist assistant. That is going to be your like nurse practitioner, like your PA. So primary pathway is basically someone already pursuing an additional credential through an educational program. And this is the main thing. So if I was, let me flip that around. So if I was going to school for radiologic technology, that would be my primary pathway. If I was going only to school for MRI, that would be my primary pathway. If I was only going to school for radiation therapy, that would be my primary pathway. If I was only going to school for nuclear medicine, that would be my primary pathway. If I was going to school for ultrasound, that would be my primary pathway. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense because that is how, that's the primary pathway. Now, let's flip back around. And the post-primary. So if you're already certified and registered, which would be someone like me, I'm already certified and registered in radiologic technology, but I want to earn an additional credential in any of the several disciplines. What are those disciplines I could earn it in? That's what we're going to click there. So you can earn your credentials in any of these. These are just, some of these post-primary pathways that you can earn your credentials in. That is really important to know. So if you were wanting to pursue the primary pathway, which ones would those be? Let's click on that. There we go. So these are the primary pathways. Hello, Jane Doe. These are the primary pathways. If you want to enter radiologic technology school, you can enter these ways, primary pathways. These are the ways that you can earn ARRT credentials: MRI, nuclear medicine, radiation therapy, radiography, sonography, vascular sonography. Totally two different things. The vascular is just the vessels. That is it, nothing more, just vessels. Sonography is all of the above. You could do it all. Now, if you go into radiography, let's click that. This is what working in radiology is like. You enter the profession as a radiographer. In this role, you get to capture images of patients' internal organs, soft tissues, and bones using X-ray equipment. Now, again, that is just not taking pictures of X-ray bones. Like, it is so much more detailed than that, y'all. Yeah, anyone can go to school for radiology technology. That's a great question. Anyone can go to school for radiology technology. But you have to go to a 2-year program at a minimum, no matter what your degree is in. You can also assist radiologists with a range of procedures. Now, having this radiography as your primary pathway, y'all, having this as your primary pathway is going to be key to this. Let me show you. Remember, we talked about your being like a nurse practitioner, like a PA. As a radiologic technologist, when you go to school for radiography as your first primary pathway, this opens up your opportunity to now gain this level of advanced practitioner, become a master's degree level. It is a master's degree. Certification and registration with the ARRT and radiography is required. You have to have a master's degree or higher, at least 1 year of full-time radiography clinical experience. You have to have at least 1 full year of full-time. You cannot be PRN. Like, if you leave radiology straight out of school and you never did X-ray, you got to show full-time radiography clinical experience, which you obtain after earning your radiography certification and registration. Okay, so completion of an ARRT approved radiologist assistant education program. You have a bachelor's in IT. Can you do a master's in it? That's a good question. But remember what I just said. How to get started. You can have a master's, but you have to be certified with the ARRT as a radiographer. This is why you cannot skip that part. You have the primary pathways, as mentioned before, that you can go into. You can go into any primary pathway, but you can only become a radiologist assistant if you spend 2 years as a radiologic technology graduate, and you have to have at least 1 year full-time radiographer clinical experience. So you have to also, in addition to a 2-year degree for radiography, work 1 year full-time clinical experience as a radiographer, right? So that is what, and it has to be obtained after earning your radiographer certification and registration. Those are required. So it doesn't matter what your master's is in, but it must be a master's of science most likely. But you have to have a master's degree or higher, but you got to have these 2 things. You cannot go any further without that. So hopefully it's because, and this is important because you're going to be doing exams, y'all, as a radiologist assistant that radiologists do. If you've never done barium enemas, if you've never done spinal taps, if you've never done vascular studies where you're putting catheters in people's vessels, you've never seen it, never done it, no way are they going to let you do it. This is why I really preach going to school for radiologic technology first. It is, to me, it opens up so many opportunities for you down the road. So back to what we were saying was the primary pathway. Again, as a review, these are your primary pathways to enter the radiography profession. Primarily, you do not have to go to radiography school first. But as I showed you, this is your only way to becoming a radiologist assistant, like a nurse practitioner or a PA. You cannot enter this unless you go the primary path of radiography. Make sense? Yes, it makes sense why. So what are the educational programs requirement for these primary pathways? This is important, very important. Educational programs. So if you're pursuing an additional credential in radiography, nuke med, radiation therapy, you must complete an educational program in that discipline. So again, you have to go to school for one of these. Like, you got to. If you'd like to pursue an additional credential in MRI or sonography, you want to use the primary eligibility pathway, You'll also have to complete an educational program in the discipline. As an alternative, you can meet the post-primary eligibility requirements for MRI or vascular, right? So it makes sense. Yeah, it does make sense. So this is what this is saying is, if you want to go straight into MRI or sonography without having a radiography background or any kind of other healthcare background that's mentioned up here, you can do those. You can go into those. But if you already have a radiography degree, nuclear medicine degree, radiation therapy degree, you can meet the post-primary eligibility requirements for magnetic resonance or vascular. So no matter which credential you pursue, you'll have 3 years after completing your educational program to establish eligibility and apply for certification and registration. So that means if you go to school for any of these things, you got 3 years to take your exam. After 3 years, that's it. It doesn't count anymore. All right? So you have to get classroom and clinical competencies for all of these. You have to. So as part of your educational program, you need to demonstrate classroom, which is didactic, book knowledge pretty much, clinical competency for new discipline. The program director is responsible for making sure that you've done that. You may substitute clinical experience requirements for clinical competency requirements if you choose to pursue MRI or vascular sonography certifications and registration using the post-primary eligibility pathway instead of a primary pathway. So that is one thing. When you have experience, that helps. Associate's degree. If you haven't already done so, you must earn an associate's or more advanced degree from an accredited institution that the ARRT recognizes. So that is that. This is good information though. Okay, so see all of this stuff here on the side. I'm going to be doing lives where I cover that. Right now, we're just going to talk about the primary and post-primary because people want to know, like, what is post-primary, what is primary? They want to know these things. So post-primary is pursuing additional credentials using the post-primary eligibility pathway. Great opportunity to enhance your professional development. I have done this. When I first started, they didn't have these. So now they do have them, but I just have multiple certifications. So the requirement to earn new credentials using post-primary eligibility pathway, you'll need to fulfill a range of requirements. Supporting category prerequisites. You need to have ARRT credentials in the appropriate supporting discipline before you can pursue a credential using a post-primary eligibility pathway. In some cases, you may earn your supporting credential through another organization, which some people have ARRT. There are other organizations out there. ARRT is one. You may. It doesn't say you will. It says you may earn. So the ethics part, though, is you must maintain compliance with the ARRT standards of ethics. It is important that you find out what those standards of ethics are, you guys. It is so important. Structured education, you must complete 16 hours of structured education activities. Clinical experience, you must perform and document a specific number of various clinical procedures. You must complete and pass the ARRT exam for the specific post-primary discipline you're pursuing. So learn more about pursuing new credentials. These are those down here. You've got bone densitometry. I love bone densitometry. Do you guys know what that is? Let me know in the comments because I have done it. I love it. Breast sonography. So that is a whole nother type of ultrasound. And not everyone who does ultrasound can do them. Cardiac interventional radiography. That is just the heart. Like that's deep. CT or computed tomography. Magnetic resonance imaging, which is MRI. Mammography, vascular interventional radiography, vascular sonography. These are all other options that you can do. But again, if you want to get to the top listed one at the top, the NP, nurse practitioner, PA level, that is a radiologist assistant. Again, you have to go to Radiologic Technology school first. What's bone densitometry? Good question. I will go right back to that. But to get to RRA, you have to remember, go to school. You have to have a master's degree, number one. And then you have to be certified and registered with the ARRT as a radiologic technologist. So that is that. And then you have to work at least 1 year full time as a radiologic technologist. Hope that helps. Now, what is a bone densitometrist? It is someone who, now here it is. Okay, I'm just tell you because there are certain pathways to it. So working in bone densitometry, basically you are looking at someone's bone density, the health of their bones. And as people age, they lose bone density. It is a scan that used to be used a lot. Now they're getting back to it more because people are living longer and osteoporosis is a real thing. So healthy and strong bones are essential to be active, especially as people grow older. If someone has a risk of low bone density or osteoporosis or shows signs of subtle bone loss, usually women around menopause usually get this on a yearly basis when they get their mammogram, when they get their ultrasounds, they usually get a bone density scan at a certain age. I think it's like 50 something, or unless they have some kind of health issues. And then doctors are able to verify using the measurements that we use on this particular scanner before making treatment recommendations. So I hope that answers your question. But it's X-ray equipment. Sometimes a CT scanner has it made in it. They have actual bone density scanners. And it is a really cool job to have. I worked at places where they're doing like 20 of these in a day. I used to do a lot of them when I worked at an outpatient clinic, and we had a doctor who mainly had women that went to them for hormone therapy treatment. They were a certain age. That doctor sent all their patients over there. So I haven't done one in years, but I should have thought about getting certified in it. I should have. And that's the thing I tell people. When you're doing something, don't think, oh, I'll never do this again. Get your certification in it. I should have got certified in it. At least I would have had it. I do say that. And that's it. Yeah. I hope that was enjoyable for you guys. That was fun for me to do. My battery on my phone is about to die. It's a measure of bone density. That's pretty neat. Yeah. It's a measure of bone density. I may have a picture of a bone density scanner. I have to look through my photos, and I may have a picture. Does it require certification? It depends on the state, but you do want to go to school for radiologic technology. And if you're doing that in a doctor's office or somewhere or the hospital, I would go ahead and get my certification. That's what I'm saying. I didn't get the certification. I didn't think I'd ever do it again. Well, I mean, I could still do it without a certification, but just to be able to do something and learn it, go ahead and get the letters behind your name. It doesn't hurt, right? It doesn't hurt. So thank you guys for joining me for this live. I never go live at this evening time, but I think I should. Oh, thank you, Urban Jungle Production. Angela Day. Okay now. Okay, it's the queen. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me on this live. Be sure to check out my recent shorts. I keep saying reels, but my recent shorts. And check out my book back there. I have a children's book, Rachel the Radiographer. It is a children's book for radiology. I have it tagged here. I also have a coloring book that I love to share with my audience. So be sure to check them out. It is a great addition to, there we go. It is tagged down here. So I would love for you guys to check out Rachel the Radiographer. It is a hardcover children's book about radiologic technology. You could donate one for your kids' classroom into their own personal home library, as every child should have a library in their home. Also to classrooms, daycares, hospitals, your local library, to encourage children to look at other options for working in healthcare. Everything is just not nursing and being a doctor. I enjoyed this too. Thank you so much. You guys have a great evening.